8 teams, 2 stadiums, and 1 final stretch to the Champions League final. I have absolutely no idea who's going to be winning this competition, but it's 100% not going to be Real Madrid. And yes, indeed, let me just enjoy that we are 1 stage above Real Madrid. For the time that I have, just let me enjoy it, please. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here. Welcome back to another video here on the channel. And yes, of course, indeed, we're going to be previewing the Champions League. The quarterfinal stages is here, the final 8 in Lisbon, and all other teams are getting ready to face off against their opposition. So we're going to be covering everything basically that you need to know about all of the 4 matches. And just like we did with the round of 16, here on screen right now, you're going to be seeing timestamps. So just feel free to jump to any game that you want to watch first. With that being said, let's just simply get started with the first game that we're going to be seeing on Wednesday. That is Atalanta versus Paris Saint-Germain. When you take a look at this game, you may initially think that PSG are clear favorites. But let me tell you that I actually believe there's a lot of arguments in favor of Atalanta. But before we get into them particularly, I just have to talk about the Parisians because there's much more doubt surrounding them currently than Atalanta. We know what Atalanta are going to be playing like, but PSG, not so much. The main worry for a lot of PSG fans is going to be which team turns up, because against Manchester United, against Barcelona, we saw a PSG that lacked a lot, and that is thankfully not going to be the case, I believe, in this scenario, because under Thomas Tuchel they have looked to be a much more structured, stabilized team. The German manager actually sets his team out to be very textbooky, and with this I mean that they follow a very simple plan, and it's that each player sticks to their position and has 2 outlets to pass the game onto, and that's how they keep their play very good while in possession. Most importantly, PSG also will tend to overload the sides of the play, that being either when Di Maria has the ball or Neymar. You pass the ball to one of them and push all the players there, making a kind of box, a kind of trap for the opposition, and then they just ping it to the other player that is completely free. This is how PSG are able to really expose many opposition, and why their 4-2-4 formation actually looks to be very impressive. But against Atalanta in this game, they're not going to be having the opportunity to do so because Mbappe and Di Maria are not going to be featured, and their right back Thomas Meunier is not going to be there because he has already moved to Dortmund. Thilo Kehrer, the backup, is also not there, and Kurzawa, the backup to the backup, is also not featuring. So they're going to have to rely on the youngster Colin Dagba to put in the performance of his life against a very attacking side in Atalanta. In Ligue 1, many of the teams against PSG will tend to kind of sit in very deep, and that actually comes in favor of them. But in Atalanta with Gasperini, they're not going to be doing that at all. In 100%, I can guarantee you, they're not going to be defending that much against PSG. Atalanta will be taking the game on the front foot because that's literally the only thing that they know how to do. So that's where PSG and Thomas Tuchel might actually want to change a bit of the formations, and I encourage them to do so and move to a 4-4-2. If PSG play like they normally used to against Atalanta, they will be caught off very off guard, and it could end up being very humiliating for the Parisians, because Atalanta play directly the sort of counter that PSG are afraid of, and that's a man-to-man pressing system. Like I said, PSG are very kind of structured and very textbooky, and if you're able to bring down one of the kind of players of the equation, just take them out completely, the entire building, the entire system collapses. And that is when PSG will start committing mistakes. And if you want to avoid those mistakes, just change the system altogether. That is why the 4-4-2 that I put in place here, I believe, could be the solution for the problems. You will be seeing later on when we talk about Atalanta how this 4-4-2 formation could look to be beneficial for PSG. But in simpler words, I just want to say that they will have to look for the long balls. Just do not be afraid to ping it to Icardi so that he brings it down to pass it onwards to Neymar and then look on the counter. I believe this could actually be the way to unlocking and beating Atalanta in this one. And PSG should follow it, because coming to this game, I honestly do not believe they look like the better side. On the other hand, with Atalanta, we have a team that if you told me 3 years ago that they were going to be third on the Serie A, scoring 76 goals I think it was, and also being in the final 8 of the Champions League, no one would have believed you. Like, come on, if you actually anticipated that, you're a genius. Nostradamus 2.0, but that is not the case. I do not believe so. Atalanta under Gasperini have done an amazing job. Literally, he has transformed the team, and it's not just an anomaly. This is actually a team in building that is growing and becoming a European superstar in the process. At the back, Atalanta has a 3-man defense, and they do not normally rely on them too much because they are strong, sluggish sort of defenders, but ones that have very good minds and understand perfectly where the other is going to be, so that's kind of their unique trait. But also Atalanta conceded 34 goals in the last 25 games, so that is not going to be particularly what they want to do. Atalanta is a team that are going to be looking to try to outscore you. They don't rely that much on their defensive game at all. They want to simply score goals and go forward, and that's how they're going to be trying to look against PSG. So like I was saying, if PSG play a little bit more defensive, they can basically nullify that attack of Atalanta if they really wanted to. But of course, it's easier said than done because Atalanta are the masters of movement. Their movement is out of this world and is benefited by two ways. You have positional interchanges and then you have simply rotations. Positional interchanges is when you take a look at the situation that's in front of you and see how you need to adapt to that particular situation. For instance, if you have a counter-attack and you have Duan Zapata just bombing through the right wing, Alejandro Gomez can take a target man position if he wants to. He's like 5'6", but he will be doing that because he understands that that's what the play requires. And the other thing is rotations. Rotations is basically when the kind of, let's say, Robin Gosens pushes forward, and move as a kind of left winger in attack, then a player in Martin de Roon can occupy that position. He will come in behind and sort of defend and become ultimately that wingback. That sort of understanding of literally where they have to be is why there's so much praise given to Gasperini in his tactical approach. But then how do you hurt this Atalanta side if they are so good? Well, their man-to-man press system looks very good, but it's not flawless. If you're able to get past that, or one player makes a mistake and not marks correctly, then they have a lot of trouble putting back into shape because their high line is only defended by 3 players and 3 center backs, which are not the fastest, not the more agile. So Neymar should have absolutely no problem in just literally blasting through them. But if Mbappe is able to play and then PSG has 2 outlets to attack Atalanta with that are very, very pacey and everything, I have to admit and say that PSG will be able to go through. But if that's not going to be the case, which looks more likely, then Atalanta are going to create a huge upset. I believe Atalanta are going to go through in this game. I do see this game to be 50-50 for both of them. And like I've been saying, Atalanta, I believe, could win this game 2-1. I really do believe that's going to be the case. Next up, we have RB Leipzig versus Atletico Madrid. And once again, I would like to just start with RB Leipzig, which are going to be the team that we have to analyze more because we do not know exactly how they're going to be playing in this game. Not only because they haven't been playing official games since the Bundesliga ended, but also because they don't have Timo Werner. And that is their main output for goals. And they don't have that. So they're going to have to find a different system to simply be able to break down a solid Atletico Madrid side. Julian Nagelsmann will continue to play his formation of a 3-4-1-2, very similar to Atalanta in number-wise, but they play a little bit different. This is because they have 2 very good central midfielders in Nkunku and Sabitzer that have no problem in joining the attack whenever they need to do it. Nkunku is a player that just sat down basically the Swedish in Emil Forsberg because his performances have been that damn good. And Marcel Sabitzer has been one of the main contributors after Werner in terms of goals and assists for RB Leipzig. He actually won single-handedly basically the game against Tottenham Hotspur in the round of 16 because of his 2 goals. So I believe that's going to be one of the main outputs to look out for in this game. But up front, that's where I believe Leipzig will have some sort of problem because you have Yusuf Poulsen, which is not necessarily a prolific goal scorer, but he's a hard worker. And then you have Patrick Schick, which could become an amazing player in his own right later on down the future, but right now looks to be kind of like just a secondary striker. Looks to be a good player that molds next to somebody else. And he hasn't really taken the sort of being the main danger man. And that would be a very huge ask for him in this game against Atletico Madrid, especially when you have a very rough and tumble team in Atletico that is not going to make it easy. Therefore, I believe Leipzig will be trying to look for the win here through other means. I encourage them to play someone like Dani Olmo. He could be a good outlet to try and open up Atletico Madrid, especially for the flanks. Leipzig have a very serious problem when it comes to that. I do not know how they're going to be scoring the goal. I literally do not know. And against Atletico Madrid, being such defensive unit as they are, they're going to be having a huge trouble. And moving now to Atletico Madrid, they're exactly going to do that. They're going to be playing their 4-4-2, their defensive football, and it's going to work wonders. If they're being able to do it and beat Liverpool in 2 legs, away and at home, then they should be able to do it against a lesser attacking team in RB Leipzig. The only thing that could come in benefit for RB Leipzig is that There are two cases of two players of coronavirus in Atletico Madrid right now. It has been 100% confirmed. If, for instance, one of the players is Jan Oblak, then maybe RB Leipzig can go through. And if the other one is, I don't know, someone like Koke, then it will be also a huge impact. But we don't know which of the players is going to be missing. So far, at the point of recording this video, I still believe Atletico Madrid is going to go through. And the only way RB Leipzig gonna have a chance is if one of those important players for Atletico Madrid won't be able to make it, unfortunately, to the game against Leipzig on Thursday. So far, I believe Atletico Madrid has a 60% chance of going through against Leipzig's 40, and the game is gonna be probably a 1-0 win for Atletico. Simple, but it's gonna be enough. And now we have to talk about Barcelona versus Bayern Munich. The highlight game of the quarterfinals is finally here. And I could not be more worried and excited at the same time. I believe Bayern Munich are the clear candidates to win not only this game, but the entirety of the Champions League. I cannot lie. But I also have to tell you that I believe there's a big chance of Barcelona going through. I do not believe it's as impossible as when I initially saw the draw of the quarterfinals. I do believe Barca has an opportunity here, and let me tell you why. First things first is that Bayern Munich hasn't faced any team like Barcelona. Barcelona hasn't either, to be fair, so it's not looking too likely for Barcelona, but for Bayern Munich they haven't done that. They haven't battled any team that is actually a huge rival for them. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to be able to improve after that. We always talk about how teams have to face a real competitor to measure their kind of stature, and that is something that Bayern Munich hasn't done just yet. In terms of stature and name, Barcelona match Bayern Munich. In quality on the field, that may be a different thing. They have been incredible, do not get me wrong, but they haven't simply faced a team like that. So we have to wait and see how they're going to react to that. How much respect are they going to show to Barcelona, or they're just going to be simply their relentless team like they always do. Second of all, something's going to happen in this game that is very, very weird. And that is that Barcelona, for a very long time, they are going to be the underdogs in a card like this. They are literally going to be the underdogs. Every single prediction that I've seen is saying that Bayern Munich are going to win. And it's weird being the underdogs. Let me tell you, it is really weird because you believe you can do it. Everything is possible, but you still have a huge mountain to climb. And that hopefully can become in benefit for Barcelona, because I have been also reading and watching the press conference of Hansi Flick after he wins the game against Chelsea, and Quique Setién did the same after Barca's win against Napoli. And they have two very different approaches. Hansi Flick has come out with the approach that's saying that, yeah, Bayern Munich, we have to be worried about Messi. Barcelona are a good team, you know what, you know this, but never really conceding that much to the sense that they are worse than Barca. In the sense that Quique Setién has literally said Bayern Munich are the clear favorites to win the Champions League, and Barcelona are worse than Bayern Munich at this moment. He has not hid from the reality, basically. And it tells me a lot that perhaps the game plan that he's just simply coming up with is not one that you might be anticipating. And of course, we also have to mention the last wildcard that Barcelona has, and that is Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi, if he really wants to, he can win you a game. I'm not joking. Like, Lewandowski is absolutely impressive. He has contributed to the 7 goals against Chelsea. Who does that? Who contributes to 7 goals? Man, that's impressive. But Lionel Messi as well, he might not have the numbers that Lewandowski is having this season, but in Messi, you have a player that if he wants to, like I said, he can just go, bam, give me the ball, I'm gonna score. That's how it works. That's simply how it works. It's just how fired up Messi can get in this game. And if he does, then I have no problem saying that Barcelona can win this game. On the other hand, you have Bayern Munich, which are completely the opposite from Barcelona at this current stage. Bayern Munich has great intensity and are able to score from every single area of the field. And they do not rely particularly on a player. You may be saying they rely on Lewandowski, but I do not believe that's true. I believe Bayern Munich are a well-drilled system. And having Lewandowski there just shows him to be even better, because he can benefit from all the other players that are actually good enough. The weakest link I would say Bayern has is probably their center back and the left mid position. And it's not like they are bad, it's simply their weakest link. It's not horrible, it's just the weakest area of their entire play. On screen right now, you're going to be seeing my potential 11. I'm going to be going with Ter Stegen, Semedo, Piqué, Lenglet, Alba as the defense. That's basically starting by themselves. In the midfield, I'm going to be going with Frankie de Jong, which was superb against Napoli. If we want to win against Bayern Munich, he's going to be needing to have an impressive game as well. I really do believe Frankie de Jong is going to be having a game of his life if we're able to go through. He has to pull all the strings there and has to run like he did. And reports are saying that he actually talked to Quique Setién and the coaches that he doesn't want to have that much attacking output on the play, that he much rather would like to just pull it from the back. And that is what we saw. That is why he was so great against Napoli. The pass that he put for Messi to that disallowed goal was superb, sublime. And that's the sort of Frankie de Jong that we need to see against Bayern. And next to Frankie de Jong, I'm going to be putting Arturo Vidal next, because we need someone to be able to match the energy and intensity that Bayern Munich can simply put out. That is our answer. Arturo Vidal is the key man to clear down the spaces, to simply just man mark whenever we need him to join the attack when we need an extra man up top. All of those things, Arturo Vidal can do it. Why? Because he has determination, he has a thrive, he has that, I don't know how to say it in English. You have, in Spanish you call it garra. Simply those balls, those silver balls to go out there and be the best that you can. And that's what I believe Arturo Vidal can bring to the team. And even though he hasn't played since the La Liga, he just has to come in. He just simply has to fill a void in this side. And Arturo Vidal is the key man, in my opinion, to be breaking down Bayern Munich if we need to. And the last player to fill this midfield is going to be Sergi Roberto, with Antoine Griezmann, Messi and Suarez forming the kind of front three of this diamond. For this, I'm taking my hat off, and I want to explain to you why I'm not putting Busquets on this side. I believe that Busquets might actually cost us the game a little bit in this one, because his mobility is really bad, and his strength, which is distributing the ball from the back, is something that we are not going to be using that much in this game, I believe. Quique Setién has been hinted towards what I've been saying, a very defensive Barcelona, not one which is going to park the bus, but one which is going to be humble and it's going to remain solid, and it's going to be playing very meticulously football. They're not going to be just blasting open. It's going to be a Barcelona that's going to be wary and it's going to be working hard. It's going to get into the mud. It's going to be solid. It's just going to be a tough ask. That is what Barcelona, I believe, needs to do in this game. They need to come out to Bayern Munich and be this sort of kind of just headache. They need to disrupt the play from Bayern as much as possible, to the point where they have to look for different options. And that's where they start to improvise. And perhaps Barcelona can nick a goal there in those situations. And Busquets, in that situation, I don't believe he's built for that necessarily. Someone like Sergio Roberto just works way more, and we need that. We need those legs in the midfield. We need those players that are going to be running to the left-hand side. It's going to be coming in deep. It's going to be a battle of giants. It's going to be a clash of the titans this game. And whilst many believe that Bayern Munich are going to blast us open, Barcelona should have some fight in them. That is probably the only positive that I see in this team right now. A team that has lost against Liverpool in a humiliating fashion. A team that has lost against Roma. And they have something to prove. They have something to fight for. And that should take them the long way. Because in football, especially in these situations where there's 90 minutes and only just margins can decide the entire kind of prospect of the result, having balls and fighting and working your socks off can get you a long way. You don't have to be the best team to win the Champions League, but you have to be the smartest to take opportunity of the luck that is in front of you. And if you're doing that, then even more luck is going to come your way. You have to be working, fighting to win against a team like Bayern Munich. And on top of this, guys, something that we must remember is that this game, since it's 90 minutes, so I already commented how everything can happen, you have to think about the long run still. If Barcelona are 1-1 against Bayern Munich and you want to push it to extra time, think about Ansu Fati, Riqui Puig, Dembélé on the bench. They can have an impact later on, and that is something that Quique Setién must be using and might want to actually think about, because he didn't do that many substitutions against Napoli, and that could potentially pain Barcelona, like I said, in the long run. The substitutions, the work rates, and Messi. It's simple like that. Those three things I believe can win Barcelona this game. It's just how good are we able to replicate them, and if we're able to do them all at once. I believe Barcelona are going to be winning for Bayern Munich in a 1-1 draw for full time. I believe that's going to happen in the full 90 minutes, and then we're going to be winning by a Messi or goal in the extra time. That is my prediction for this game. I believe Barcelona can do it. And last but not least, we have Manchester City versus Lyon, and this one might be very short because I see just Manchester City going through. They proved once against Real Madrid that they are a big team. They are a big team and know exactly how to play these games. And this might be their best opportunity so far to win the Champions League, in my opinion. And against Lyon here in the quarterfinals, it really shouldn't be that much of a problem. Lyon did an incredible game against Juventus, maintained the ball pretty well, they retained it in good areas of the field, they managed to create a headache for Juventus and their defenders. But against Manchester City, you're playing a team that is actually good. Like, Juventus weren't good in that game. They are not good. They simply just went back into it because of Cristiano Ronaldo. But something that they may try to kind of hang on is those penalties. Against Juventus, we saw as well how penalties, VAR and everything can change the decisions of this game, and now more than ever in the final 8. With only 90 minutes, everything can happen, and a red card, an injury can go Lyon's way. And the same thing for all of these games here. If, for instance, PSG get an injury, it's going to be easier for Atalanta to go through. If a red card goes to Bayern Munich, Barcelona has even more chances to go through. And it's not a problem thinking about that, because that is a strategy that can be put in place. I believe teams can win like that. Like I just said, teams do not need to play the best of football to be able to win. But against Manchester City, I do believe it's a very big ask for Lyon. I really do see that. I do not see how Lyon are going to be able to make it. Gabriel Jesus put an incredible match from a working perspective against Real Madrid. Sterling was superb. His goals were pretty good. His association, his dribbling was getting into the box, everything. And then you have to take into account also De Bruyne just pulling out the strings in midfield. So yeah, for me, it's going to be a 70% chance for Manchester City to go through in this one. Lyon, just 30, and I believe a 2-0 win is all that City will need to progress to the semi-finals. So with that being said, my predictions for the semi-finals are going to be Manchester City versus Barcelona, and we're going to be seeing Atletico Madrid versus Atalanta on the other one. Of course, let me know in the comment box down below, what do you think is going to happen for these games? And particularly, I want your opinion on Barcelona versus Bayern Munich. I do believe Barca has some chance of going through, and if you are a neutral fan, just let me know what do you think. Because I do not believe a smashing is on the table. I really do not see a smashing. I do not think Bayern Munich are just going to come and have an easy game. I do think Barcelona has some sort of determination in them and a point to prove, so hopefully that can take us to the semi-finals. I would just like to remind you guys that we're going to be doing match reactions as well for every single game afterwards, so join us on the channel after each of the Champions League games end. So yeah, that's going to be it for right now, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, ciao.